Hi, I'm Tony Nichols, and welcome to Chamber Chat. Hi, and welcome to this edition of Chamber Chat, a program put together by the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce to keep you informed on what's going on in your chamber and in your community. Our first guest on this edition of Chamber Chat is Courtney Geiser, who's representing the Life Crisis Center here in Salisbury. Welcome to Chamber Chat.
Thank you, Tony.
Courtney, you're here to talk to us about something that I feel should be near and dear to everyone's heart. Could you tell us what that is?
Yes. I am here today on behalf of Life Crisis Center to talk about Child Abuse Awareness Month, which is April. And the blue pinwheel is something in particular I'm coming to talk about, which is the national symbol for child abuse awareness.
Okay.
And we have launched a program that is new this year called Pinwheels for Protection. And it is our hope to raise awareness around this community that is so desperately needed for child abuse protection and prevention.
Okay, let's dig into that a little bit. Pinwheels for Protection. Is this a local campaign or is it a national campaign? Can you go in a little deeper and tell us what is involved in this campaign?
Well, there's Pinwheels for Prevention is done locally around larger cities and some smaller communities. There's different ways of doing it. I had done some research starting about a year ago, realizing that there's a lot of things done around the whole United States, but we just have not been a part of it. So there is a Pinwheels for Prevention sort of as a national campaign, and I took that and evolved it into our own Pinwheels for Protection. So altered it a little bit and expanded on that and said, let's do something here to really get people to notice the silent epidemic that we have.
Okay, there it is. What's the goal? What do you hope to get out of the Pinwheel for Protection campaign here locally?
Honestly, the biggest thing is just to break the silence that surrounds child abuse. I think that unfortunately we're not educated as a society enough on it. I think it's something that people tend to just want to turn the other way, not talk about. It's taboo, and I think that's the biggest problem. And in Wicomico County, we have over 500 cases of child abuse that have been reported just in the past year. Wow. And it is a huge number. And to be honest, I had no idea that that was going on right under our nose until I was touched personally by something about a couple years ago that really said, I got to pay more attention. So, like I said, I started doing my research, and I realized that there just is such a stigma that surrounds abuse and abusers that needs to be changed. And my hope is to, by putting this out there for everybody to pay attention to, you put blue pinwheels in people's faces, a garden of pinwheels that we're going to plant in honor of all of these victims. They drive by, it makes them notice, they have a conversation. The conversation brings this awareness that we need.
Well, there's a lot in that answer, but I would say the 500 cases, certainly too many, and that's just reported cases.
That is just reported.
That's just reported.
Yes, so you can imagine
But I think one is too many.
Absolutely.
But is that the goal for the community? I know you want to get the awareness out there, but the community at large, is that the ultimate goal, just to bring awareness and put it out in the community so you can start a conversation?
That is the ultimate goal, and to make kids and adults comfortable. We have an acronym that we came up with. In order to fix the problem, we're going to break it. Break, the B, to bring awareness to the community. R is your responsibility to report and react if you see child abuse. E is education, just understanding what the different kinds of child abuse are. A, advocacy and awareness, and K, just keeping kids safe. So it was kind of something we came up with, to stick in people's heads, say this is what we need to do. So I think, yes, I think that the main goal for the community is just to come together, step up, and say what can we do to lower these numbers and protect our kids.
Are there activities maybe in a certain time frame throughout the year, certainly throughout the month, that you plan on doing to help raise that awareness?
Yes. Let's see. First, there's some very important dates. Starting actually the end of this week, on the 29th of this month, we are actually going to begin planning the Pinwheel Garden, which will be located on the land that's generously been donated by the Moose Lodge, across from the Old West Steakhouse and on Snow Hill and College Avenue.
So that's going to go for the entire month of April?
That is going to be up the entire month. And we are going to be planning the garden, so we're going to be putting out all the pinwheels to represent the victims. We have a ton of support already on this with law enforcement, and we have an honorary spokesperson for the event that Jamie Dykes, she will be there. So we're having volunteers, so anybody can come and volunteer to help us plant the garden. That's on the 27th at 2 o'clock. And then following that, on April the 7th, we are having a guest bartending fundraiser at the Brick Room in downtown Salisbury. So members of our committee are going to be doing the guest bartending, and all the tips that are raised from 5 to 10 that night will go straight to Pinwheels for Protection.
Fantastic.
And then on the 9th of April at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is our dedication of the garden. And that's when we'll have some speakers, and we will just be presenting basically the finished garden, again, to emphasize just the visual aid of what needs to be seen and put it in our faces, which I think is the big.
Now, is there going to be multiple locations, or is it just going to have a one location where you can come and view this garden?
This is going to be one location.
Okay.
Our hopes is that since this is the inaugural year, is that it's just going to continue to grow. And then maybe get surrounding, since Life Crisis is involved with the Tri-County area, get surrounding counties and their numbers involved, and just keep growing this for awareness. That's our goal. So yes, this year there will just be the one location representing Wicomico County.
This is almost a question that's going to answer itself, but who benefits from this campaign? Well,
like you said, I think it answers a lot of it. Answers stuff. Number one would be the children, the children that we are trying to protect. Obviously, they are our future. They are the most precious thing that we have in front of us, and a lot of times we need to speak for them when they are too afraid to speak. And I think that this also, I know that my children personally are excited to get involved. I think that's just going to empower the kids. I think parents are also going to benefit from the education. They're going to know how to start conversations. They're going to be able to
look for the signs and all the things that speak
all the
without words.
Expand what they might know and learn things that they didn't know. And I mean, some of it's going to be hard to hear, but it's definitely necessary. Especially in our community, we really need to improve this.
How can people get involved?
Well, there are many ways. The dates that I mentioned, certainly anybody can come and participate in that. You can go onto the Life Crisis website, www.lifecrisiscenter.org, and there's a donation there, online donation. We also are doing businesses that can actually sponsor Pinwheel, where if you see in the grocery stores and stuff where you can donate to certain things for $1 for a Pinwheel. So it's actually, you would just be a sponsor, you get your name on a pinwheel. It's $1 for a pinwheel or $7 for 5, and so certain local businesses can display them in their lobbies, and people can come in and buy pinwheels that way. You don't actually get the pinwheel that goes in the garden. It's a paper pinwheel, but it's a representative of your sponsorship. And then, of course, larger donations are welcome through the website or personally through anybody.
Well, Courtney, I certainly thank you for coming on Chamber Chat and sharing this. There are a lot of worthy projects out there in the community. I can think of none that would be any more worthy than something like this. So thank you very much for donating your time.
Thank you.
And joining us here on Chamber Chat.
Thank you.
We'd like to give you an opportunity now to take a look at the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Chamber Chat right here on PAC 14. We have a fantastic privilege in that we have this year's recipient of the Humanitarian Award with us with the Chamber of Commerce, Bob Cook. Bob, thanks for being on the program.
Well, you're certainly welcome. Thank you for having me.
Bob, this award that the Chamber gives away or has the opportunity to present once a year has only been given away 9 times in the last 95 years. And I want to read something because I don't want to mess it up. Part of the description of this award was it was given to someone who, to truly superb members of our community who have dedicated themselves to the greater good for all. I don't think I've ever met someone that wouldn't describe you, Bob Cook, as that person. So a couple of questions. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
When did you get involved in community?
Well, Tony, I think I have to go back to my childhood, really, before just getting involved in community. My mother, even though I grew up in the Depression era, and we were poor too, but my mother was enormously generous. She would, in spite of our circumstances, she would gather up things for people that were even more poorer than we were and help out. So I got that. And then, as I mentioned, and everybody knows this that knows me, I guess, very involved in the Boy Scouts
Yes, sir.
since 1938. I became an Eagle Scout in 1943. So one of the things that the Boy Scout oath says is to help other people at all times, to help other, and that just sort of stuck with me. So I have been involved, not with this community, but in some way with community and with service.
Sure.
For a long time. I was just telling the folks out in the waiting room that I did something with some other folks when I was in Korea in the Army to help a missionary build a little hospital where they were. Anyway, so I've had this motivation, this feeling ever since I was a kid, I guess. So anyway, as far as this community, I was brought here by the community leaders to start the Greater Salisbury Committee. And their motto statement, their mission statement isn't exactly like this, but it might as well be to do good stuff.
That's right.
So I had the pleasure, and it was a pleasure, of working with these community leaders. The names of the community over the history are the great names. Frank Purdue, Avery Hall, people of great, and dozens.
Bob Cooks.
Well, more than Bob Cook. I might have been the catalyst, but anyway. So over the years, then I worked at Greater Salisbury and ran it, established it from the very beginning to where it became I think a very powerful organization, because these men were the CEOs of the big businesses in the community. So anyway, that gave me a running start, and as a result, I was a catalyst, I guess, but there were so many people involved that it's just wonderful. So, you know, it's no secret that we helped save Salisbury State Teachers College at that time from being closed from underutilization. Of course, with 600 and some students in, and I was just talking out in the waiting room, there are almost 9,000 now. What a great story. And of course, Warwick Community College, Warwick Tech, when we first established, was to meet a great need. And, you know, that's from zero. Dr. Arnold Maynard, the founding president, started out in a storefront in the old mall, which is torn down, and it's a beautiful big campus out on Route 50, as you know.
Right.
So, and then the Community Foundation was something that, just an idea that I gathered from visiting up at the Y Institute back then, and it was hard to get that started, but we did get it started with a small amount of money, and then my beloved friend Dick Henson gave $1 million, pledged $1 million, and then gave $1 million. And now, through a series of a lot of great leadership over the past 35 years, it's worth over $100 million
That's
now.
Amazing.
So these things are things to which I suppose you could call me the catalyst. I either had the idea or pushed it. Some of these things were really hard to get going because people just didn't recognize the need. Or
Sure.
So anyway.
Okay, so here's the promise that you have to make to me. We wanted to get you on the program to recognize you for getting the Humanitarian Award, the 9th recipient in 95 years. But you have to promise to come back when you can spend a little more time with us and we can dig into some of those items that you just talked about. Deal?
Well, you know, I'm getting up there in age, so you know the old saying, I don't even buy green bananas.
Yeah, there's another saying about bad pennies too, so we'll just leave it there. Bob Cook,
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us on Chamber Chat.
Thank you, Tony. It's a pleasure.
Next up, the Chamber Award recipient, Jason Rhodes.
Tony, thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. The Salisbury Jaycees has hit a milestone, I would think.
We have. We're 75 years old this year.
And in that 75th year are the #1 chapter in the state.
That's right. This is our 3rd consecutive year as the #1 chapter in the state. The award we received at that level is called the Henry Geiser Award, and it's named after the National Jaycees founder. We're thrilled that the Maryland Jaycees have sought to honor us in this way once again.
Now you're here representing not just a few people, but a very large group of people that are dedicated to making Salisbury a better place to live. So how many people would you say are involved in the Jaycees that ultimately make the impact to win this kind of award?
Well, right now we have just over 50 members, which is a nice fit for us.
Sure.
You know, over the years, there have been some years we've had over 200 members. Have they all been active? No.
Right.
Now that we have 50-some members, are they all active? Yeah, all of them are active in something, and that's one of the great things about the Jaycees is we do so much that you can kind of pick and choose your activities.
Sure.
Some people love the community events, some people love the social events, and some people just do it all. They're
Right.
the crazy ones like me.
That's right. Well, I could be thrown in that same pot as well. #1 chapter in the state, 3 years running. What is the criteria that the state looks at in order to designate a chapter #1 in the state?
Well, there are some baselines. #1, you have to be growth. You have to finish the year with more members than you started.
Okay.
And that's not always easy, but we've been on an upward trend for the past few years, and we're happy about that. Beyond that, they look at your service to the community. They look at what you're doing for your members. They look at different areas that you allow your members to succeed in. You know, how many new members have chaired projects? What are you teaching your members? And again, going back to what are you doing for the community?
Yeah. Very, very much like the Chamber of Commerce, which is why, you know, there's an affiliation there. So specifically, you know, you gave us a high brush stroke there of things that the state looks at in terms of designating the winner. Give us some specifics, maybe in the last year or over the last 3 years since you've been #1, as to what you could point to and say, this is why.
Sure. Well, in 2014 alone, our chapter handled 42 individual projects, which is huge. You know, that's close to a project every week.
I was going to say, last I checked, there was only 52 weeks.
Yeah. And some of them have become annual traditions, like our Christmas parade. We are, in the next couple of years, going to be coming up on the 70th Christmas parade, so we're running right up on that. We have our Children's Christmas Shopping Tour, where we take underprivileged kids Christmas shopping at no expense to themselves or their families every year. We have Treat Street, where we turn the downtown plaza into a giant Halloween block party, and we have over 1,000 people there every year. And things like that are our more visible events. And we also do some smaller events that people may know about, may see, but may not associate as much with the Jaycees. We do the Libraries Read Across America event in downtown Salisbury every year. We, with the St. Francis de Sales Boy Scout Troop, run the Salisbury Super Soapbox Spectacular every August. And so it's little things like that that complement the big things we do and kind of make us the well-rounded chapter that we've been rewarded for being.
I'm tired just listening to you. So it sounds like a lot of work. Jason, we wanted to extend this opportunity to you and to the Jaycees to further perpetuate your success and your recognition for being the #1 chapter in the state, as well as winning the Chamber Award with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. I think someone's going to fact check me on this, but I think it's the first time an organization has ever won it.
Is that right?
Well, it goes to a person.
It was certainly a great honor, and it was a surprise to us, a nice surprise.
Thank you so much for coming on Chamber Chat.
Tony, thanks a lot.
We'd like to give you another opportunity now to take a look at the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Hi, welcome back to Chamber Chat right here on PAC 14. Joining us now is Maureen McNeill, Director of Development at Coastal Hospice. Maureen, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Maureen, many people, I was going to say we've all heard, but many people know the work that hospice does in the community, but there may be a few people out there that may not know. Could you give us the 50,000-foot view of what hospice does?
It sounds like a cliche, but hospice is about living. Mm-hmm. So hospice is for someone who has a really scary diagnosis, a life-limiting condition is what the term that we use, and they are at a point where if their condition continues along the course it's on, they will probably not have 6 months. That's the term that Medicare uses. That's the term of art. But we come in, and it's kind of amazing. There's a team of people that all has the patient at its center. So it's a physician, and maybe it's your own physician if you're the patient, or it's ours. It's RNs, social workers, aides, volunteers, therapists, a chaplain. All are there to support the family and the patient through this most important journey.
There has to be a multitude even of services that you guys provide. Can you touch on some of those?
So the nurses are there sort of overseeing the case and making sure that the patient doesn't have pain and has the chance to achieve the goals that they set for themselves, and that's actually how we start. We start with asking about goals and work from there. And then the social worker can sit down and figure out how we afford this, how we talk to the grandkids or the kids about this, how do we, the chaplain then comes in and talks about, with the patient, and sort of works through their existential issues. They come up with all of this. And so it's everything from all of that, and then we also have palliative care. For those who are still pursuing curative treatment, we have pain management and symptom management there. And we even have a program called Compass for folks who are in that boat and need some support out in the community. And we sort of connect them to resources in the community.
That sounds like a lot.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
There has to be a hefty price tag to some of this stuff.
There is, and we're reimbursed by insurance and Medicare. So the patient actually and their family doesn't get bills from us. Rare occasions if they go to Coastal Hospice at the lake, that kind of thing. But we generally, insurance covers virtually everything related to hospice. So that's kind of the beauty of it. But for us, we have patients who don't have insurance and who have no resources. And so we spend just over $500,000 every year in charity care for those patients, for either the things that they have no insurance or the things that they need that insurance simply doesn't cover.
So now with charity care, how are those funds, how do you arrive in getting those funds?
That's why we have a development director. That's where I come in. We do a lot of events which are wonderful and help us make friends in the community. And we have one of those coming up I want to tell you about. But we also, a lot of people make memorial donations to Coastal Hospice. When someone passes, they make a gift in that person's memory, and that puts, we let the family know that that's happened, so it's just a nice way to sort of remember that person. But we have an event coming up in May for Preakness that we call Hats for Hospice. And it's a big party. This year it's out at a home in Nithsdale, and it's just a wonderful afternoon. We have the race going. We have a betting on the race after a fashion that still benefits Coastal Hospice in the end. And then we serve mint juleps and folks dress up. And my favorite part is that we will be decorating hats. And in previous years, we call it Hats for Hospice. People decorate their own hats and wear them to the party. But Vernon Powell is partnering with us this year and providing us hats that folks can decorate. And they might not even be wearable when we're done. They might be just really big showcase pieces. And I have one if I can show you.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so here's the hat. Here's the basic hat we're starting with. And Vernon Powell is providing all of these. And then they'll showcase them in the store. And folks can vote on the hat that you create, that you decorate and make beautiful. And they'll vote with their dollars. So that's money that goes to Coastal Hospice. And then so we'll have a prize for the folks, the designer who's raised the most money, but we'll also have a prize for the most creative hat. And they might be the same person, they might not. But we have a bunch of decorators out in the community getting ready and getting their ideas ready to decorate hats.
So the curiosity in me has to ask this question. Why hats?
So you've not been around horse racing. Horse racing, a big chunk of
I'm from Eastern North Carolina. We would race pigs and goats. So.
Okay, so that might not be something we do, but around horse racing, that's always the ladies' hats are always a big part of the day.
Sure.
From the little fascinators to something as big as this one. So it's, and actually we've had folks put some wonderful, extraordinary decorations on their hats already at our parties and win prizes for them, and it's a bottle of wine or something like that. And so this year we thought we'd take it community-wide and make it a bigger, out in the community part of the event.
We expect to see those pictures. I'm sure they're going to hit
They're going to be all over social media
that's right.
and publications. That's right. That's right.
What else should we know about hospice, and how can the community help?
Two things. One is we have on our website on the very front page a set of questions. And so a lot of people aren't sure when to call us, what to know. And the physician is not always the first person to say it's time for hospice. That's not their focus. Their focus is the disease that they're treating. And many physicians focus on the whole patients, but that's not how a lot of them were trained. So on our website we have a series of questions to ask yourself. And the biggest help we need in our community is for people to recognize that we are about helping people achieve their goals. And if you know someone and you sort of look through these questions and you say, they have been in the ER a lot lately, or we have had some of these episodes lately, to encourage them to call us and let us come in and help.
Very good.
That's the biggest thing we need.
Maureen, thanks for joining us on Chamber Chat.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much.
Well, that's a wrap on this edition of Chamber Chat. As always, we thank you for joining us, and we encourage you to visit PAC-14's website and utilize their on-demand feature if you've missed any portion of this program or you'd like to view previous editions. You could also visit the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce's website and view it on our website as well. That's all the time we have for this edition of Chamber Chat. My name's Tony Nichols, your host, encouraging you to make a difference.